The media is the ultimate spin doctor for Star Wars. With what seems like every day, another article comes out justifying, defending, and excusing the biggest dollar drop-off in the history of cinema. Today's defender is The Hollywood Reporter, and they have an article titled, Star Wars: The Last Jedi Box Office Fatigue? Don't bet on Star Wars fatigue yet. If box office pundits are right, Disney and Lucasfilm's Star Wars: The Last Jedi will ultimately boast one of the top worldwide grosses of all time, with as much as $1.6 billion in global ticket sales after earning well north of $745 million through Christmas Day. Its lifetime run is expected to include $750 million to $800 million in North American ticket sales. That means it could be the second biggest domestic title of all time behind its predecessor, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Currently, Avatar and Titanic rank number 2 and 3, not accounting for inflation. Over the 4-day Christmas weekend, The Last Jedi placed number 1 in North America, a 54% decline from its opening weekend haul of $220 million, the second best launch on record after The Force Awakens. For the 3-day weekend, Jedi earned an estimated $68.4 million, a 69% decline, prompting some questions whether the film is losing momentum. That compares with a mere 40% drop by The Force Awakens, which grossed $149.2 million in its second outing over the December 25th through the 27th weekend in 2015. Force Awakens had the advantage of Christmas Eve falling on a Thursday night. And last year, the standalone film Rogue One: A Star Wars Story fell 59% in its second outing, earning $64 million over the December 23rd through 25th weekend. Rogue One had less to fall from after debuting $155.1 million. The Force Awakens was an outlier, the likes of which we may never see again, and to compare any movie, even a Star Wars film, to that performance is unfair, given the build-up to that film's monumental release. At a gross of nearly $750 million worldwide and a near even split between North American and international grosses after a little over a week in theaters, The Last Jedi is by any measure a great success, and the passionate debate over the pros and cons of the film itself only serve to show the continued passion that the fans have for this historic film series, says ComScore analyst Paul de Gamoriangard. Box office observations note that The Last Jedi got dinged in its term of weekend-over-weekend drop by Christmas Eve falling on a Sunday this year, a day when traffic always slows. Plus, Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle posed potent competition in posting a better-than-expected 6-day debut of $72 million. Through Christmas Day, The Last Jedi was trailing The Force Awakens by nearly $175 million in North America at the same point in their runs. The big test will be the amount of Force The Last Jedi shows between now and New Year's Day, as well as into January. The good news for Disney is that the movie is now playing more... God, I can't even get through one article without the gender politics, excuse me. The good news for Disney is that the movie is now playing more female and younger. Why is that good news? Money's money, I don't care where it comes from. On its first weekend, 67% of ticket buyers were male, while only 35% were under the age of 25. On its second weekend, the male percentage lowered to 58%, while nearly 50% of ticket buyers were under the age of 25, according to ComScore's post-track service. Overseas, The Last Jedi has launched in virtually every major market, save for China, where it doesn't debut until January 5th. The film is banking on besting the $125 million gross in the Middle Kingdom by The Force Awakens. Should The Last Jedi hit $1.6 billion, that would mark it as one of the top 5 global successes of all time after Avatar, Titanic, The Force Awakens, Jurassic World, and Marvel's The Avengers. So, that right there is the problem. The core male audience that you want to disappear is what keeps your asses afloat. You said it yourselves, but it's trendy to have women buying tickets. Let's ditch the money for what's trendy, right? Wrong. You can see what happens when the old guard disappears. He loses money, and your persistent bashing of the longtime fans doesn't help either. If you want that huge opening weekend, you need them as well as the new blood. But what this article is yet another excuse by the media. From now until eternity, places like The Hollywood Reporter, Forbes, Collider, and every other source is going to make an excuse for Disney. If the film doesn't have a massive jump next weekend, it'll be because of the cold weather. And then the next week, it'll be blamed on the kids going back to school. And the following week, it'll be because of the situation in Congress. And the following week after that, the wildfires in California. And the list will go on and on until the film pops up on Blu-ray, where they will tout the sale so people remember this film is making money, and then they'll quietly wait for their Disney checks to appear. I think what Disney needs to learn from all this is that thinly veiled political rhetoric disguised as Star Wars will not work. It doesn't work now, and in 20 years it won't work either. They tout this film as intellectual, a film that needs multiple viewings to be understood, a film that is too good for us on the other side of the media. But I'm here to tell you that's bullshit, and not even of the world-class variety. I said it yesterday, gender politics and entertainment don't mix. It's not even a volatile concoction. It's like water and oil. They naturally separate, and when you try to swirl them, you get a big mess. And that's where we are now. It's a bad time to be a fan of anything. You always have these weird people obsessed with spreading their ideologies into a property without any concern over the quality or the aftermath. They've been doing it with comics for a few years now, and Marvel is finally waking up and making the tough calls by firing the editor-in-chief, canceling books that don't sell, and bringing back the things the fans want. Why? Because it's costing them money by being so politically correct. The same can be said with Star Wars. Eventually, the board at Lucasfilm or Big Daddy Disney is going to wake up and realize that the Kathleen Kennedy experiment was a bad idea, and promote Ben Burtt or someone to take her place. If you think about it, it's sort of funny. You have this woman in power who is solely focused on women's rights in Star Wars, because that's a thing, and she's causing a divide that wasn't there before. If anything, she's hurting her cause. The article has the quote, "The Force Awakens was an outlier, the likes of which we may never see again. And with Kathleen Kennedy in charge, we won't." You could say she's the reason the film was a hit, but you'd be wrong. The reason that film did what it did was because of the magic created back in '77, and the people who wanted to recapture it. I wasn't a fan of the film, and I'm still not, but that's a topic I've covered at least 24 times here on this channel. What I really want from these news outlets is transparency. They never once throw out the possibility that people just don't like this damn movie. Literally everything but the film being bad is thrown out. It's a problem that stems from modern millennial thinking. It's never me, it's always them. Star Wars, however, isn't meant to be a modern millennial franchise. It's supposed to transcend politics, religion, and time, and be a tale that hits you on a human level. It has struggles that everyone can relate to, no matter what era you watch. As a kid in the 90s, if Star Wars started talking about Watergate or the energy crisis, I may have never become a fan. Things like that date the film, but more importantly, it ruins the purpose of its existence. Star Wars is meant to be an escapist piece of fun that hits us on a primal level. We're supposed to see our struggles in Luke Skywalker, righteousness in Leia, and strive to be as cool as Han Solo. The new characters are perfect know-it-alls, buffoons, and assholes. No one wants to see themselves in Poe Dameron or Finn, and only delusional people see themselves as Rey. Star Wars is always a story about people, but these new characters aren't people. They're boxes to be checked off by the diversity police in Hollywood. Studios are so worried about what bloggers and online news outlets think about their sensitivity and progressiveness, and they forget who their audience is. Us. That is why this movie is underperforming and in many people's eyes killing the franchise. There's a disconnect between us and them. Their ideology is more important than our entertainment. Their ego is hungrier than our desire for more Star Wars, and people are saying no, no more. Thank you. To wrap this all up, Hollywood news outlets, stop. Stop with the excuses, stop with the utter bullshit. I have never seen this many excuses for a single movie. As sure as another day passes, I see another reason why this movie is nearly $200 million behind The Force Awakens, and tomorrow, I'm guaranteed to see another. You'll never tell us the truth as long as Disney has influence over the narrative, and as we've learned over the last few years, the narrative is far more important than the actual product. So listeners, tell me down in the comments what you think tomorrow's excuse will be. Bolivian cocaine shortage, Chevy Chase weight gain. The reasons are endless, but one thing I can guarantee you, it's not the fans being upset over the expanded universe being wiped out. Oh, and one final thing. Dear Mark Hamill, don't apologize for your comments regarding Disney Star Wars. Luke died. You're free. So that's it for this year in World Class Bullshitters. It's been the best year of World Class Bullshitters by far. It took us 2 years to get here, but god damn it, thank you, all 10,000 of you by the point that I upload this video. We've grown a lot. We started the year at roughly 2,000 subscribers. Now we're at 10, and it wouldn't be possible without all of you wonderful people. If you're new to this channel, make sure you join our Facebook pages. We have a lot of great conversations that go on every single day. It's a lot like these videos, but just more personal. All the guys that are on the podcast are there. I'm there. And I answer questions and stuff like that. If you're a really big fan of this channel and you'd like to see us grow even bigger, join our Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can really help us grow. For 17 cents a day, which equates to $5 a month, you can help us grow even further. As you can see, we've grown a lot this year, and it's all because of you. We intend to grow even further in 2018. So that's it for Star Wars, for now at least. If the Han Solo trailer comes out, well, you know I'll eventually get a review of that out, because I gotta see the dumpster fire. We all want to watch a car wreck, and that's building up to be the biggest car wreck in cinematic history. I think it'll be the first bomb with a Star Wars title on it. So We only have, 5 months to wait, and I just can't wait to see it. So thank you once again for watching, and we'll be back in 2018 with a lot more content.